welcome back to another episode of Rugby with Pads. I am once again recording back to back, but you don't know that. It's 2 days later. Today, we're going to take a different approach. We talked rookies last time, but what about everyone else? Age is just a number. Year one does not represent the peak for most players, but instead, a workup towards the best version of themselves over time. And I think we're all like that. I mean, year one, I was not the same person as I am now, and not that I'm a perfect specimen these days, but I'm certainly got a bit more experience behind me. But yeah, in fantasy, people play up to their best peak over time before gradually the sands of time come to kick their ass, just like they have with me. That's about as blue a language as you're going to get on this pod here, by the way. Let's start with running backs. Running backs are the hot topic when it comes to age, because we all dump them at the age of 27, just like all our famous musicians. That was a bit dark. Anyway, largely, we talk about running backs being on the decline due to the mileage on the proverbial clock. It's definitely a consideration, but take a look at those who buck the trend. I'm thinking Alvin Kamara entering his age 30 season is beyond the usual 27 age drop-off, mainly due to the game he plays. Whilst King Henry rules the roost at age 30 plus due to the relative underuse in his early years and his raw athleticism being bolstered by him actually learning the game over time. I mean, he sat behind, I can't remember the guy's name, but he sat behind a couple of guys before he really got his chance. For every success story, though, you see former greats drop off in their 20s. Kareem Hunt can't find a team anymore. I lie. He's now with Kansas City, isn't he? Oh, everyone's at Kansas City. I think they just, they buy just rubbish running backs. Austin Eckler now is now a third down outlet. He's not the guy he was before. Chubb can't recover from injuries and is without a team currently. Raheem Mostert is now out of the clubhouse in Miami and is now lost in Vegas after an 18 TD season 2 years ago. The age drop-off for running backs is really reflected in the way the NFL sees them as well. I think that's something we need to consider in fantasy. If the NFL isn't going to put money behind them, are they really going to give them targets? Are they really going to give them runs? Probably not. But they're not giving money to anyone. Running backs are very much disposable and they're looking to get younger. And I think this class of fresh running backs, go after them, because I think we'll see some big names drop out of consideration earlier than you think, because we've got this young crop of 21, 22-year-old guys coming in and wreaking havoc. For running backs, a rule of thumb is to find their 2 to 3 year peak. It's maybe different. This will be different for everyone. Some break the mold. I've talked about those already. Kamara, I think Barkley probably will as well. Let's see if McCaffrey comes back from injury, but Derrick Henry for sure. But if you can find it, ride it and learn to let go as well. Learn to let go. That's another thing as well. So you're one step ahead of the 32 teams. I think I would much rather, in Dynasty, for example, let go of a player who then performs the next season, then drops off, than hold him 1 season too late. Let them go 1 season too early than 1 season too late. I mean, you don't want to be caught holding on to Nick Chubb right now, do you? You just need to understand the value of the position, I guess, is really important, and how it relates to real life football and the dynamics there as well. It's especially important in Dynasty, as buying low and selling high is probably the best way to stay relevant at the position and across your whole league as well, because running back is such a premium year after year after year. Wide receivers, it's a bit of a different story. Whereas running backs, you probably want to hit that 24 to 26 age, boundary there before they start to drop off. Wide receivers get smarter with age, but they don't often get faster. They don't often get stronger. But the good ones read the game and avoid hits for longer. Think Davante Adams, 32, and getting contracts above Cooper Kupp. Mike Evans is, bends the rules of space and time with 1,000-yard seasons. And Cooper Kupp, who I think will defy the odds this year because he's a clever player. I think that these guys are going to perform at a very high level into their 30s. Even still, Scary Terry, Mike Evans, either side of 30, both had wide receivers seasons last year, alongside Davante Adams, who is out at sea at New York. They've all got very good traits and very similar traits to them. The fact that they all, apart from Cooper Kupp, avoid hits regularly and are clever with their play. The traits that you want out of rookies, situation, high percentage of target dominance and great zone play, are all things that speak to longevity. But the raw nature of athleticism at some players will be balanced out later on as they start to learn the game and the mental side catches up. I'm thinking Malik Neighbours, athletic he's really quite incredible. DK Metcalf, athletically, really quite incredible. There, you can see the trajectory. DK Metcalf's game has changed over the last couple of years. He is not relying solely on the athletic freakicism. He's learning the game more. And I think we'll see that out of Malik Nabers. So even though I've talked rubbish about Malik Nabers on this pod before, I still think he is a fantastic go-get-him guy. That said, this last year showed that wide receivers are some of the most pro-ready out of all positions. And what I mean that is they can make an impact in the league. Superstars like CD Lamb, Chase, and Justin Jefferson, they were all relevant from day one. So maybe age for wide receivers isn't a number, but dominance itself and the diva nature of the wide receiver position, being able to claim those dominant targets is really something that you want. But that said, 32 is probably time to kind of see you later. We'll have to see how Davante Adams is in his 33 year season. Quarterbacks. They stick around, don't they? A bit like kickers. They have a long shelf life, but it does depend on their archetype. Pocket passers, the likes of Joe Burrow, if they can stay healthy, they're likely to see playing time all the way through, following on from their kind of peak of the year 3, year 4 season when they've learned the game and sustain that well into their 30s. So really long peak. Injuries are going to take them out, of course, because if they're less mobile, they're more likely to get hit, potentially. And the likes of Kirk Chains and Aaron Rodgers are going to be the definitions of that sharp decline after a serious injury. We'll yet see if Aaron Rodgers really can claim his way back at the top of the perch. I suppose with injuries, if they avoid them, it'll be as far as that arm can take them, and you can get into your 40s as well. So like Brady, I think the only thing that was really stopping him wasn't injuries, but his arm just went to noodles. But maybe he's an exception. He is the freak of that rule. The other archetype is newer. I say it's newer. It's probably more frequent these days, but the dual threat, the mobile quarterbacks. I suppose with those guys, we're more likely to see them have traits to running backs and see the wheels falling off over time. But the immediate impact should be evident. Lamar, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, all cheat codes for fantasy football. And it'll be interesting to see how Jaden Daniels pans out in season 2, whether he'll have that sophomore slump. For every guy who lasts a little while in that kind of archetype, we want the Michael Vicks who can go on forever and not go to prison. No, maybe not. We might get guys who have horror stories because they're more mobile, they're more open to in-play tackles. And I know we're trying to protect the quarterback as much as we can, but RG3 was a thing, and then he wasn't when he got injured. Guys who failed to get over an injury and didn't have that edge because they couldn't play the pure pocket play that they had. Their game was getting into risky positions and getting out of the pocket. What we yet to really observe, and I think with this crop of guys I just spoke about a minute ago, the Lamars, the Jalen Hurts, and the Josh Allens, and they are 3 very different players, but still very similar archetype, is what happens to the long-lasting effect of that style of play. Lamar, who is a slide runner, avoids contact, and Allen, who's a bruiser and lives for it. Both are evolving into better passers, and I think we'll probably see more of that in their game over time, so they will have a longer peak. But their initial peak, I think, will be higher when they have to rely more on their legs. The hybrid is what you want, but with only kind of 2 or 3 of those kind of elite guys in the league at any time, you're better off building a hybrid out of multiple guys. And we'll go on to that in another episode as well, where we talk about the Moneyball aspect of all this. And once again, we will cover tight ends because we have to. Last but definitely least. As much as I talk down on the position, it's potentially the hardest position in football. We know that. Huge hits, short hospital pass range. They're going against athletic freaks in the D-line and the edge, and needing to have an eye on both positioning for blocking purposes and catching as well. It's not easy, and it can really lead to some of the most beat-up guys on the field. I mean, we all saw Kelsey in the way he ran last year. I mean, I'm not athletic at all, and I could run faster than him in that final game of the season. But I think with the guys who are getting over the age of 30, and we're seeing the success of Kelsey, Ertz, Andrew, Kittle over time, over the last 6 or 7 years, you'd be inclined to make the suggestion that experience counts a huge amount. However, I think the volatility of the situation is evident in the relative drop-off of Kelsey after the injuries that you see. The new wave of players like Bowers, McBride, Laporta are making an impact in years 1 and 2, which I spoke about last time in the sleepers, is something that is very difficult to predict, but maybe they've got some similar traits there in athleticism and pass catching prowess in college. But it goes against a conventional, not controversial, maybe controversial, I don't know, and known history that you're expected to see breakouts of tight ends later on. The variance in the position is still imbalanced, and I think it's just where the NFL are trying to work out what's being changed, and the tight end is a bit of a pivot position for a lot of teams, that they're trying to work out how to best use the position to make the best out of the running game, best out of the passing game, and best out of their wide receivers as well. I think the one thing you can rely on, though, is an experienced tight end is normally a great outlet for a new QB, whilst limited wide receiver rooms also give the tight end opportunity to be fantasy relevant. I mean, there's no conclusion here. I can't really tell you whether a young tight end or an older tight end is better for you to go for. I would suggest that an experienced tight end is very valuable, but think of the archetypes, and I think that archetype is changing, so I'll be interested to revisit this conversation next year. I guess, in short, if you can catch a guy before they break out, that's the ideal, especially in Dynasty. But the wise choice is to get out of that player ahead of when that gate closes shut and you're left holding the bag. So, buy low, sell high, don't hold. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk / this pod. I really appreciate you listening to me rant and having a bit of a fancy brain dump over the off season. If you've liked this, please like, subscribe, follow, all that kind of stuff. Rugby with Pads on all social media platforms. I will be doing more stuff there. I'm not very good at it. I'm a 36-year-old man who's not that averse with very versed with fancy football, or with social media, however. If you'd like to support the pod, you can do, and get yourself some merch as well. rugbywithpads.com, that takes you to my Buy Me a Coffee. Support from as little as £1, but you can support most by liking, subscribing, sharing, all that fun stuff. I will stop pitching. Thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate it, and I will see you all very soon on the Virtual Gridiron.